I have exciting news. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Carlos, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at a character that I did for Adobe's Character Animator. And if you don't know what Character Animator is, it's basically an animation tool that you can import a Photoshop, or even I think you can do Illustrator, but Photoshop works better. But you create a character and then you can animate that character using your web camera. And I know that there's a lot of people that are trying to get into animation, or at least trying to tell animated stories, that maybe don't like animating, and maybe they don't think that they're that good at art, which is fine. And maybe some of us are just kind of lazy and they just don't want to do the artwork part of animating, which is fine. That's where this video comes in and this website comes in. So let's go take a look. Here we are at Adobe's Puppet Maker page, and I'm going to be leaving a link to this page in the description of this video so you can find it. But if you take a look, you can see what Puppet Maker is. They have an introductory video here, and you can come down here and you can see that there are free example styles. And there's a lot of puppets here, but the one that we're going to focus on is right here, Bearie. And the best part of that is they're free. You can grab all of these and create your own cartoon, and the puppets are already set up and everything. So if you want to use any of these puppets, you can just download any of them, all of them, and have them and install them in your Character Animator. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. Let's download Bearie and I'll show you all the customizations that you can do, and you can enjoy the fruits of my labor. First thing we're going to do is come down to where it says Bearie, and we see that it's created by Carlos Gomez. So what we're going to do is hit download. That part is easy enough. We are sent to this other page. So what I'm going to do is up here on the top right, I'm going to click download. And if you're wondering, this works on PC and Mac. All of these puppets will work as long as you have Character Animator. Download these guys, install them, and you're off and running. Okay, here we are in my downloads folder, and we have top secret stuff. It's not top secret, I just don't want you in my business. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Bearie.maker. If you have a Creative Cloud account, but you don't have Character Animator installed, it's as easy as going up to the icon for Creative Cloud and coming over to all apps, and then you scroll down until you find Character Animator. Since I already have it, mine says open, but if you don't have it installed, instead of open, that button is going to say install. Click on that. Creative Cloud is going to let you know when it's installed, and then you'll be ready to go. Okay, here's our Bearie.maker. When you start playing in Character Animator, you're going to notice eventually that there are two different file types that you're dealing with that come out of Character Animator. One of them is a .puppet file, and one of them is a .maker file. A puppet file goes directly into Character Animator, and there, even though you might be able to make some adjustments, you won't be able to make as many as if you're in Puppet Maker. A .maker file opens up in Puppet Maker. Puppet Maker is a part of Character Animator. So Puppet Maker, you'll be able to customize a puppet, and I'll show you in a minute how we can do that. And then once you have a character that you like, you hit generate, and then that'll open up in Character Animator, and then you'll be able to animate that. So let's go ahead and open up this .maker file so I can show you what I've been talking about. So there's a number of ways that you can bring this into Character Animator. You can either double click the .maker file, or you can just right click and hit open or open with, and make sure that it's going to open up in your version of Character Animator. So I'm going to go ahead and double click. And already we can see that the web camera is working, and I'm able to move my body, and whatever I do with my body, the puppet mimics what I'm doing. If you open this up, or at any point you open up a puppet and it's not really, the body's acting a little weird, look down here on the right. It says calibrate. Get in your starting position, be comfortable, because you're going to be flailing your arms all around, but you need to be comfortable. And then once you get into your starting position, go ahead and hit calibrate, and you see how the puppet just kind of comes together, and you can notice that his eyes are moving. Whenever I move my eyes, the web camera is picking up my pupils and it's moving the puppet's pupils according to my eyes. Pretty neat, right? So now, if we look down here at the bottom, right next to the calibrate button, we have a web camera. If the puppet moving is kind of driving you a little crazy, what you could do is turn off the web camera and he'll be sitting still. So let's go ahead and turn on the camera. This button right next to us, it's the body tracker. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And the other button that's here is this microphone. If I turn on the microphone, now every time I talk, the puppet is going to also talk. And if I move my head, he's going to dance around and do all kinds of stuff. So now what I'm going to do is turn on the body tracker and step away just a little bit so the web camera can see my arms, right? So if I turn on the body tracker, now, well, let's go ahead and hit calibrate again. It's going to take 5 seconds for me to get in place. And now when I move my arm, the puppet's arm moves too. And I know that this window looks a little cramped right now, but it's fine. Like when we generate a puppet, I think it's 1920 by 1080, something like that. So it'll be like a proper video size. So for now, I'm gonna turn off body tracker. This is where we can really customize our puppet, right? So I'm gonna scroll down here. On the left-hand side, these are all of the options that we have to pick from. Yes, it was a lot of drawing. So what I'm going to do is turn off the tie. I'm going to turn off the glasses. I just want him to be plain so we can go through all of the customizations. So these are the first ears, but then we can come over here and if I click on the second ear, look at the fuzzy ears. So now you can customize the ears. There's a little bunny looking thing. You can also change the eyebrow shapes. You can change the eyes. One is my favorite though. You can change the different noses, even face shapes. There's so many things that you can change. There's body shapes. And then you have accessories. So you can give him hair. You can give him a little propeller hat, glasses. We also have fashion accessories. And you can change the background because maybe instead of the circus, maybe you want him to be in the wild. There's a zoo, there's a cave, and there's little stuffed animals. This is where it gets really neat. Fur color, you're able to click and change the color of the puppet. So what if we wanted, I don't know, let's go with that color. And then the baseball cap. Oh yeah, let's turn on the baseball cap. So now I'm able to come down to where the baseball cap is, and I'm able to change the color of the baseball cap even. And then these are different play options, and we can talk about that after we generate the puppet. Now that we've really quickly gone over the customizations and the color customizations, let's say you just wanted to create a puppet and you just wanted to see what was available, or maybe you didn't want to make a decision. You just wanted to click a button and have a random puppet show up, right? That's where this randomize button comes in handy. If I click that, it's going to randomize everything. And just by playing with randomize, you can create an almost limitless amount of bears. I like this guy. He's got glasses and a pearl necklace on. And notice the, let's go down to fashion accessories, because this is really neat too. If I move back and forth, notice the physics that are applied to that necklace. Same thing with the scarf and even the boa. Wait, I kind of like this one. Let's see what the tie looks like. Little bow tie. I like the boa. I like the glasses, but what if we wanted to put on a wig? If you add a wig to your version of Bearie, you can come in here and change the color of his wig too. All right, I kind of like this. Eyebrows, let's go back up to eyebrows. I want to have the bushy eyebrows. Nah, I kind of like that guy right there. Now that we have our bear customized and it's exactly what we want it to be, what I'm going to do is hit generate. And now Character Animator is going to take all of our options, apply it to a puppet, and then create that puppet here in our scene. If you notice, the top of his head is cut off just a little bit. What I'm going to do is come down here and make sure that Bearie in the scene is selected, and we see on the right-hand side under transform, we're able to then take that position Y and drag that down, or actually drag that to the right just a little bit and get his head in place. And you see how when you move in and out from the web camera, it affects the puppet. Again, top right, see this calibrate button, click on that, get in your comfortable position, click calibrate, and it snaps him into place and everything is cool. Here's a tip for when you're creating your animations. I do everything almost like cascading. So first I will record something with my voice. I might even turn off the web camera. I'm still talking, and I'm able to then come over here and click the record button, or if we see here, it's Command R. I'm assuming on a PC is Control R because everything is that way. But I can either click that button or on your keyboard, hit Control R and it'll start recording. Here's another pro tip. I have this stool. See here? I have this stool, and usually when I go to do animations within Character Animator, I'll have my Bluetooth mouse and my Bluetooth keyboard on this stool, and I use it almost like a stand, and I stand kind of far back from the web camera, and then I'll hit calibrate and make sure that Character Animator can see my arms moving and everything. Sometimes it's helpful to have a little more space between you and the camera, and Bluetooth connected keyboards and mice come in very handy. So if you have anything like this, or maybe like a speech lectern or anything like that, anything that can hold your keyboard and your mouse and gives you a little bit of space between you and the camera, sometimes that will help with the performance. When you're going through your cascading performances, everything that is active here on the right-hand side where it says Puppet Track Behaviors, everything that has a little red dot next to it is armed and ready to be recorded. We don't always want that to happen, because once you, let's say we're working on an eye gaze, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but if you're working on an eye gaze and you hit it perfectly, you don't need to record that again. You don't need another track of eye gaze recorded on your timeline. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn body, dragger, eye gaze, face. I'm going to turn everything off except lip sync. Okay, so now all we have is lip sync recording, and I'm going to hit Control R. Welcome to the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. So there we see down here at the bottom, we have, let's zoom in just a little bit. And if we hit the space bar, welcome to the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And just to show you an example of how different layers of recordings go on top of each other, let's do that again. Like, share, and subscribe. So notice here where we have two audio tracks. If you did this for eye gaze and dragger and all of those other things, everything will start stacking up, and you don't really always want that. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. And next time I go to record something, I'm going to turn off lip sync, because we're already ready already. Notice down here under Visemes, we notice that Character Animator is doing its best trying to use the audio that's coming from the microphone as well as the web camera to show which mouth shapes to show, but it's not always perfect, which is fine. What we can do here is zoom in on the Visemes. That D there doesn't have to be there, but the beginning of my sentence is welcome. So instead of a D, I want a W. So I'm going to right click right on that D, and I'm going to drop down to the W. Then I'm going to take that and stretch it. If I get to the end of that little bar, I can stretch that out, And then I can also bring this part over. So now, and then the L, welcome. So I can come in here and drop down to L. Now we see, and then that K sound, right? So I'm going to move this M just a little bit over because I know that I need to change that letter, but I don't need the M there. I need the C there. So what I'm going to do is hit the Alt or Option key, and then you come down here, you see that little razor blade, click there. Now we can right click and then go down to something more of a K sound. Even better, E, I think. And if we zoom out on the timeline just a little bit, we can see that. Welcome to the channel. We can stretch that out, turn that into an L. Welcome to the channel. And that's how you can adjust the Visemes, or basically the mouth shapes that show when that sound happens. So you can change the graphic that's showing when you're talking if it's not to your perfection. Okay, so now that we have our audio, and we're gonna pretend like we did all of the modifications for the Visemes. So now let's play with eye gaze. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on, and you see this little caret here, this little arrow. I'm gonna click on that. Here you see that the camera input is highlighted. Character Animator is going to use your web camera, so whenever your eyes move, the puppet will follow your eyes. But let's say you didn't want to do it that way. Let's say that you wanted to have a little bit more control. I found that sometimes the web camera, like when you're trying to get something out the door real fast, the web camera is cool. But if you're a little bit more of a control freak, you can come in here with your mouse and touch input. If I turn that on, now whenever I click on the stage, wherever my mouse is, that's where the eyes are going to follow. So I'm going to move my mouse to wherever I need it to be, and I can click, and you'll see his eyes moving. Similarly, if we go to keyboard input and turn off mouse input, now I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard. If I hit up, right, left, and down, but then you can also do down to the right, down to the left. So you have a little bit more control. So let's go ahead and do a camera input, and let's record something. Make sure that the camera is turned on. So now the camera is going to take a look, and whenever I turn and I look in different directions, the puppet is going to follow me. Okay, so that's the eye gaze. So basically wherever we want our pupils to go, we can control it 3 different ways. So I'm going to go ahead and close up eye gaze and turn off eye gaze and turn on face. And we're going to open up that section. And we see here that face is set to camera input. You can do pose to pose as well. But for now, let's do the camera input because we're just trying to create a cartoon pretty quickly. Here's another tip. If you're done with your audio and you're happy with it, go up to the top right here and turn off the microphone because you don't want to accidentally add any more audio tracks. And while we're there, let's say that you had an audio file that you previously recorded. You can import that and then animate off of that. I'll make another video about that talks specifically about how to do that. It can be tricky, but once you do it once or twice, you'll be fine. Okay, so we're about to record our face. And one of the neat things is that if you look into the camera, when you blink, the puppet blinks too. And if you move your eyebrows up and down, the eyebrows move up and down. And then you can move back and forth. So let's hit record. Welcome to the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if we're happy with that performance, we can move on. But let's say that we didn't quite nail the poses that we wanted. Let's go back. And let's see. So let's say we wanted to have him really be animated when he says, like, share, and subscribe. Command R. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Welcome to the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. There we go. But notice how when it gets to this point, and if you look down here, this is the first performance. This is the second performance. So it snaps from this pose to that pose. You see how it jumps? What I'm going to do is right there, there's this little, it looks like a little square but cut in half diagonally. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and drag that over. And basically what that's doing is it's taking information from the first performance and it's blending it into the second performance. So now we notice that you see there's no jump. It just kind of like smoothly blends into. Like, share, and subscribe. And we can do that on the back end too. So what I'm going to do is take that and drag it over, and notice that wherever this light blue bar is, that is the amount of animation that is going to happen. It's not going to go any more. It's not going to go any less. Towards the back end, I'm going to go ahead and bring that over to smooth that out too. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. There we go. All right, and that's how you would do the face. You could also control the body by turning on body. To be able to take advantage of this way of controlling the body, what I'm going to do is turn on the body tracker. And now we see that, and you see how I have to back way up, and you see how the puppet is getting wacky. So I'm going to take my trusty bench or my trusty stool. I'm going to bring my keyboard down and my mouse over, and then I'm going to hit calibrate. Let's bring the mic over too so you guys can hear me. I'm going to hit calibrate. It's going to take about 5 seconds, and I'm going to stand in kind of like an A position. So now I can do like this, and Bearie is getting down. Yeah, buddy. So now let's record something. Welcome to the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to rewind, hit the space bar. Welcome to the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And it's just that simple to bring Bearie to life. Let's say that our performance is 95% there. A lot of times we're good with 95%, but let's see if we can't really fine tune what we're trying to do. I'm going to turn off body and I'm going to turn on dragger. So the way that this puppet is set up, the wrists have draggers attached to them. So if I really wanted to fine tune this animation, what I could do is make sure that the dragger section is turned on. And now you see that I can use my mouse and move his wrist, really hit a position. And if we open up the dragger section, we see that mouse and touch input are turned on. And that's how we're able to then adjust the puppet. And if I hit record, channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Down here we see that handle, torso, left wrist, and right wrist are here. So I'm able to then smooth those out as well. Welcome to the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. All right, so now we have our puppet moving. The eyes are looking around and his head is bouncing around, and we know that we can move the arms around a bunch of different ways. So now we know that we can use the keyboard, the mouse, draggers, we can use the web camera. All of those things go into creating this performance. But being the helpful, lovable guy that I am, and I always go above and beyond, I've included a lot of preset animations or replays. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this stuff. And here we have plain old Bearie. If I come over here and turn on triggers and come over here to the controls panel, we see perform and we see layout. If you click on layout, you can customize where the buttons live. But if we go to perform, we're able to come down here and take a look. So we have the triggers for the different eyebrows. So if Bearie gets angry, you can flip over to angry. And we notice here where there's an A there. If we tap A, he gets angry. And if we tap A again, he goes back to normal Bearie. If we tap W, he's worried. And if we tap W again, and obviously if he went from worried to angry to normal back to worried, you can have fun. All of these triggers are already set up and they're recordable and all that stuff. Super easy to use. This next section we're going to skip over real quick because I want to show you the different hands. So while you're animating, you can actually bring Bearie's hands up like this. And they're separated by right hand, left hand, and also both front and back are available as triggers. So when you're telling your story, like sometimes you might want to tell one story that has 2 people with 4 things. I don't know. But you can do that with these triggers, and these are recordable as well. These are some included animations that I did that I think you guys will find hilarious, hopefully. Let's say that Bearie is talking and maybe he just doesn't know the answer. I don't know. So let's say that Bearie is at a sporting event and he's really cheering and he's having a great time. But then the other team scores and maybe Bearie gets upset. When you're animating, sometimes it's better to use body and sometimes it's better to use face. When I'm doing something a little more broad, I'll use body and I'll use the camera to do a lot of the animation. But if I really want to fine tune it a little bit more, I'll either use face or even dragger. While I have dragger turned on, I'm going to have Bearie's arms up like this. I have my triggers on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn these hands like so. And I'm going to hit record. And I'm going to move his arms up and down like that. And we see that that arm is animated. And same thing, I'm going to hit record again. I'm going to bring this arm up. You see how the timing is off just a little bit? What we can do is I can go over to his left and I can take that animation and drag it over and try to time it just a little bit better. That's actually kind of silly, huh? Let's leave that there. I just wanted to show you how you can take that layer of animation and move it left and right to really fine tune it. But now that I'm doing this, it looked a little funnier like this, like almost like a Will Ferrell. So let's smooth that out. I'm going to smooth the back end out too. And let's see, we go, doom, doom, doom. Yeah. But now in the middle of his cheering, let's say that the other team scored. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. I'm going to make sure that my triggers are available. I'm going to hit record. And now I'm going to hit pout. So now if I go back to the beginning and hit. So let's take a look at the rest. So we already did the I don't know. We did the pout or the angry one. He went that way left. They went that way right. Arms out. Thumbs up because you did a great job. Thumbs up because you did a great job on that side. Ushering someone in. Right, left. Nice little friendly wave. Wave that way. And they're great. Yeah. And that's how you can download these free puppets and customize them and even get into animating them. What an incredible piece of software that Adobe's been playing with. Character Animator is a very helpful tool when you're trying to work on something and get it out the door super quick. And even for the people that have stories to tell, but don't have cartooning skills or even animation skills to bring those stories to life, This is a perfect way for you guys to get your feet wet in the world of animation. Super easy. All you need is a computer, Creative Cloud, Character Animator, and I'll leave a link. You can grab Bearie and a whole bunch of others that are available for free. And again, you can use them for whatever you want. They are available and open source, I believe is probably called. There's no copyright to them, so you can use them however you want. If you guys use Bearie for anything, please let me know. Find me on Instagram, it's Coconut Justice, Twitter's Coconut Justice, and even here on YouTube, Coconut Justice. Tag me in some of your social media postings. I'd love to see how you guys use Bearie. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you know anyone else that's trying to get into animation and storytelling and all that stuff, or that might find this video helpful, please, please, please send this video on over to them. And if you see that subscribe button, click that subscribe button and there's a little bell right next to it. Click on that so anytime I come out with a new video, you'll be alerted. And as always, I hope this video finds you healthy and I hope this video finds you safe. I'll see you in the next video.
Coconut Justice.